Hi, I'm SaraBelle.
And I'm Sebastian, and here we are once again talking about fast food and junk food, kind of your fast food, junk food experts, connoisseurs, and we're glad to be back with you again talking about, this time, actually a lot of news.
Yes, there is news this morning.
Tell me about some of the stories that we're going to be talking about as far as the news is concerned.
As far as the news is concerned, we have a couple of things going on. ChickFilA.
ChickFilA. I love the ChickFilA. It's about that one pickle, but tell me.
They have had a hack of their credit card payments.
A hack of their credit card system, like Target did.
Target did.
Year or so ago?
A couple of other chains up in Portland have also.
Yeah.
And then that happened, I think, in December. Yeah,
right.
So.
Okay. A big hack involving the Chick-fil-A. Well, also the pork shortage. I feel like that is a gigantic headline.
If you're a Chipotle fan.
If you're a Chipotle fan, there's going to be problems with the pork supply. Also, Carl's Jr. is adjusting its menu.
Yeah, they are changing their menu. They're going to be the first U.S. fast food restaurant that has all-natural beef.
All natural
beef?
What kind of beef do we get at Safeway? Or, I mean, at McDonald's or whatever? Like, that's not all natural beef?
Well, it has the hormones and steroids. So this is supposed to be grass-fed.
I would like to see documentation on that personally before I really say anything that's true of the McDonald's or the Burger King or the In-N-Out or all the other burgers. But I'm sorry, go on.
No hormones, no
hormones,
steroids.
no steroids.
Steroids.
At Carl's Jr.
And they're Aussies because the U.S. can't support that much beef, so we have to import it.
And it's coming from Australia?
From Australia.
That's got to be really expensive. We can't grow more American beef to...
Well, most of
it all has steroids and hormones. Apparently.
Exactly, that's the problem. There are so many farmers that are...
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we'll talk about that coming up. We're going to take a break, and then we're going to talk about the one that's really serious to me, the Cadbury egg.
Yes.
For Easter.
The formula has changed.
The recipe is changing. A lot of crazy stories there. Wendy's is another of the restaurants to eliminate soda.
From their children's menu.
From the children's menu.
For their option.
I was hoping you were going to catch that.
Soda in Wendy's.
I'm all about the grabbing headline. Wendy's eliminates soda.
No!
From the kids' menu. Asterisk. And then also we have viewer mail. I can't believe we've only been here.
I know. I'm excited.
Such a short time.
I know the viewer who sent us the mail.
You know the viewer who sent us the mail. Well, that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. But I mean, it's an actual person other than us watching us on YouTube, which is really fucking weird. Okay. And then we actually have other stuff to talk about, what we will tease for our next upcoming show, including Twinkies and Zingers.
I know. We had our discussion of the difference between the two.
I'm really excited about this. We teased it a couple of weeks ago, talking about the differences between Twinkies and Zingers, which was better and why. We're going to go into it a whole thing next time. But yes, we will actually be eating Twinkies and Zingers.
We keep looking that way because that's where they are.
Live on the air. They're right over here off camera. But it's going to be really, really good. So all of that is coming up in the next show. But let's get to our first story, which is the hack of Chick-fil-A.
The hack of Chick-fil-A.
Tell me about this.
It happened in December, again. That they found that their credit card information, their customers' over 9,000 transactions may have been compromised.
Shit.
And that happened actually in Portland also with another chain, Jimmy John's.
We don't have Jimmy John's here.
Yes, we do.
We do?
We have Jimmy John's. Down by the University of Arizona, there's
We went to Jimmy John's. Okay, I'm sorry. I had never been. That's a chain?
That is a chain.
I thought that was like a local little place, a little hip place by the U of A. That is a chain of restaurants.
It looks like a hip little place because the wallpaper, the decor, everything looks very hip. But no, it is a chain. And I remember the specific location was in Beaverton that got hacked.
Beaverton, Oregon. I have done the news from there many times.
Yes. So Chick-fil-A is going through the same sort of thing that Jimmy John's went through, that all their customer information may be compromised. Well, much like Target, I don't believe they are doing the free credit report like Target did.
Ooh, okay.
Because if you were a Target customer during that time period, you got a free credit report.
Right. No, I know. Yeah, that was sort of what they did to make it up to their customers. That they had this happen with their information. So, I'm
pulling up the story to see.
What, if anything, are they offering their customers? Are they just saying you've been hacked? Change your credit card info?
Pretty much, it's keep an eye on your credit report. I did not see anything in the article to the contrary of hey, let us give you this because you've been compromised.
I don't want this to be a political show. Like, I want this to be a fun fast food news show. But I feel like, doesn't something have to change with the credit thing?
Yeah. It's one of those ones that there are so many different ways to scam the credit card readers or the databases that they're stored.
Do I have my wallet? I'm going to get up off camera for a second because I want to show. I'm just going to show really fast. I'm going to show that I have $5 in American money, and then I also have 300 pesos. We'll show the camera here. I actually do have live 300 pesos on camera from my time in Mexico, which I may be going back to. But what I was going to show you was my American card and my Mexican bank card, both of which are about the same. They both have the magnetic stripe on the back. I'm not going to show you too closely because I don't want you to see the numbers. But what's the difference between the two, SaraBelle?
I know the difference.
Tell me the difference.
It is the little chippy chip in your Mexican card.
The little chippy chip in my Mexican card that is missing from my American card.
Right.
How can that be? Is the U.S. behind countries like Mexico as far as credit technology?
Yeah, they sure are.
Shocking?
It is.
A little shocking, maybe?
Shocking, yes. So... but yeah, so that is the news from the Chick-fil-A.
The ChickFilA hack. Yeah. Be careful if you like that pickle. That's what I always say about Chick-fil-A is the one pickle. For some reason, that's what it always is. It's not two pickles.
It's just one.
They always have that single pickle right in the middle of the bread. And what do you think about the political... I mean, they had a whole thing, right? Where it was like they're a religious-owned company.
They are a religious-owned company. I can honestly say that I've eaten Chick-fil-A less than 3 times in my life.
Really?
Because in Tucson, they only used to have it in the Tucson Mall for the longest time. There was just the one location.
Really? I did not know that. Okay.
Just the one location inside the Tucson Mall.
Yes.
And I live way far away from the Tucson Mall, so I never went there.
Right. Okay. Didn't have one at the U of A? Because I remember eating one at college. That's the thing. Now, that started at Arizona State. I started my university schooling at ASU and was a Sun Devil for those first 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
And went to Chick-fil-A probably 3 times a week during my freshman year. Like, that's why I have... Now, I feel strange. I'm a gay guy, and I mean, the conservative element and blah, blah, blah with the whole... What was the story involving controversy in Chick-fil-A?
I'm not sure if they just didn't hire homosexuals or they found out that an employee was homosexual.
Was it that serious?
Maybe?
Like, I thought it was just like raising the minimum wage or not raising the minimum wage or something like that.
It was something, some gay rights or discrimination.
I feel like a bad homo for not knowing that.
Yeah, exactly.
Also a bad news person for that matter. But I remember the controversy. Right. I also remember going, you know what? Despite everything, I do still like those sandwiches. Right. Those chicken sandwiches are really good and unique. That's part of what makes good fast food, isn't it? Is like that it's like something
you can't get anywhere else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even though it's a chain and you get it the same
everywhere.
Every Chick-fil-A you go will have the same sandwich. But I feel like, isn't it funny?
Yeah.
That
it's the Chick-fil-A.
That there's that tradition. I don't know. I feel like that means something to me. Okay, well, story number 3. Chipotle and the pork shortage. Oh, my God. What kind of world are we living in where this can even be a thing? Tell me about the Chipotle pork shortage. Do you know about this?
The Chipotle's pork shortage is not that there is not enough pork in the U.S.
Not that there's not enough pork.
There's enough pork in the U.S.
However, that's what it sounds like.
Chipotle has very good ethics and standards. They try to have the humanely raised meat and beef and pork and chicken. So they want their pork to be basically not free-range pork, but they don't want them to grow up in the breeding pens. And the latest batch of pork that they got...
The cages, right?
Right. They want them to be able to walk around and live a decent life before they fill our tummies. The latest
What do you think about that? I mean, the way you said that makes me feel like you're very... I know you to be compassionate.
Well...
I mean, is it... For instance, there's people who I know who I won't say who they are because that's not fair. But I feel like there are people I know who feel like they're the pigs.
Right.
They don't really feel pain the way we feel pain or whatever. I mean, I feel like that's kind of misguided. If we're going to eat an animal, we should treat it fairly, or we should treat it kind of humanely, I guess is the term. Right?
So Chipotle likes to have their humane practices, and they're saying between 4 and 9% of the pork that is raised in the U.S. is only considered humane because they have to have the space, and then they have to have the breeding availability to raise the little piglets.
And what it takes to humanely raise pigs is not sustainable.
Right.
Is that it?
That's pretty much what it is. Or it's sustainable, but it's not as much of a turnover. The turnover on it is not
the
as
profit. It's
right.
sort of a profit story.
Sort of
but you know what? Good for them for sort of recognizing
Chipotle
it.
Actually said that they would rather not serve pork than serve pork that was not humanely raised. So
you gotta respect that kind of. I mean,
and honestly, if you're a customer of Chipotle, you know their background, how they try to get local produce and local.
Yeah, I've heard of that.
All the local stuff, and if you're a customer of Chipotle, you're gonna back them up. You're gonna say, you know what? Yeah, I will go without my carnitas or whatever that one is.
Here's the question: as a person, have you had Chipotle?
Oh yeah, I've had Chipotle.
I actually really have a very good. I have fond memories of all of these fast food places, and that's kind of why I'm fond of them. Is partly because I remember the guy I was dating when I had my first Chipotle.
Right.
Or I was like a freshman in college, and I went there every 3 times a week for ChickFilA. So I have a lot of emotional sort of connection to a lot of these stories. I feel like I don't know, and so when I think about Chipotle, I think about my ex.
Right.
And would you stop eating pork and stay with Chipotle, or would you find a place that has pork?
Well, and see, the thing is that the Chipotle meal...
I'm not sure I wouldn't... You know what I'm saying? I like to think I would do the right thing. Stick with Chipotle and just get a bean burrito or get a asada burrito or something.
But when I go to Chipotle, I don't eat the pork. So...
You don't? Okay.
I don't. It's not... I usually get the bowl instead of the burrito with chicken. Or steak. Pork is usually not my number one choice. So the pork shortage really doesn't impact me, per se.
Do you eat much pork overall? No?
Overall, I think the only pork that I get on a regular basis is in my family's tamales, because we use pork loin instead of beef.
Right, you do. And the tamales are divine, by the way. I finally got my dozen last week. And, my family was overjoyed. All right. Well, there will be a lot more to come on that story, I feel like, in the next few weeks. So we'll keep you posted here in our fast food breaking news segment that we would like to provide to you. What's coming up after the break?
What we have after the break is actually going to go ahead and be Cadbury. The other big news story.
Cadbury.
The big news story.
All right, I'm trying to stay calm about this because I'm not clear on who owns Cadbury in which country and so on. We're going to go over that, but yes, basically the recipe for the Cadbury cream egg has been altered.
They changed it.
I don't know how I feel about this yet, so we're going to explore that live on a video here. What else?
Our chicken nugget wars.
Chicken nugget wars. I like the sound of that. I mean, throwing chicken nuggets at each other. But it's what, Burger King versus McDonald's?
Burger King versus McDonald's is pretty much, Burger King has taken a very aggressive tactic to try to corner the market on the nuggets.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Okay.
And then, of course, our viewer mail.
Viewer mail! Yay! I can't believe we actually have viewer mail. I'm Sebastian. She's SaraBelle. We will be right back.